David already said, but please let us know what you need so we can facilitate you and serve you better. On that note, I'd like to say let the conference begin, and I thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Rashid. A great welcoming introduction. I appreciate that very much. I'd like to introduce to the stage now a very important person in my life for many reasons. Michael Kercheval is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the International Council of Shopping Centers. He joined the ICSC in January 2000 and was appointed to the position of President and CEO in May 2001. Becoming only the third CEO in the association's history. He is responsible for the management of ICSC's global operations, including this one, and carrying out the association's strategic objectives. He is a member of the Board of Directors of the ICSC Foundation, Project RECon, and International Board of Amigos de las Americas. Prior to ICSC, Mr. Kercheval worked for 20 years in real estate, investment banking, most recently in Latin America as a senior executive with Land Lease Real Estate. Mr. Kercheval is a graduate of the University of Colorado and holds advanced degrees in economics from Columbia University. He and his family reside in New Jersey, and his son Adam is here with us today too. Anyway, thank you, and please welcome Michael to the stage.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for the nice introduction, David. Rashid, thank you very much for your comments and your welcome this morning. That means a lot to all of us, and it's always great to be with my fellow colleague from Colorado, in spite of where we might be gathering wherever in the world. I have to say it is a real pleasure to be here with you today. I have attended every MECSC event since I joined ICSC in 2000. And indeed, this was one of the very first events that I had the pleasure of attending shortly after I joined the ICSC organization. And it has been fascinating to watch the transformation, not just of the region, which is anything but extraordinary, but also of this industry and of this event over the last 14 years. The reach of this industry, the reach of this association is extraordinary, and I think in no small way has played a key role in the economic growth, the vitality, and even some of the stability that we've brought through business connections and business leaderships to the region, and indeed bringing this region to the rest of the world, and bringing much of the rest of the world to this region. So I congratulate all of you for your contributions to the industry and really to the world economic situation. And finally, Rashid, thank you very much for your steady leadership. You have and continue to be an inspiration to me, to our industry, and to our association, and your leadership as president of the MECSC is really a model for all of us. What I would like to do this morning is to speak with you a bit about the progress of our industry worldwide, what's happening around the globe, and indeed some of the key challenges that we in our industry face, and indeed the industry itself faces. The industry, I will start out by saying, our shopping center industry, which isn't that old, maybe it's 50 or 60 years old, the modern shopping center industry has changed. What has happened now is the pace of change is much rapider, and it is requiring and really testing a lot of our professional capabilities as never before. There are really three main drivers to this change that we're seeing today: technology, globalization, and demographics. And I'll tell you that each one of these changes is an overwhelmingly powerful force, and each of them present unique challenges. But when you combine them all together, it's really quite extraordinary. So industry in different parts of the world. In emerging markets where we're seeing this growing middle class, and in many cases coupled with stable governments and low levels of existing shopping center supply, the pace of new retail real estate development continues very, very impressively. This is particularly the case throughout much of Asia and much of Latin America. At the same time, development has slowed dramatically in mature markets, such as the US and much of Western Europe, and we are unlikely to ever return to the sort of go-go development days that we saw in the past. In these mature markets, we've really had to redefine the word success, having to be, if you will, that third place. The place that people are when they're not at home and they're not at work. The place that people go to connect, to share experiences, and to shop. In other words, we've entered a period where economic value flows increasingly from the social value of our projects and not just from the merchandising value of our projects. Now, I tell you that not all shopping centers or all shopping center owners have necessarily made this transition in their thinking from shopping centers as a place to shop to shopping centers as a place to be. But those who have are creating some fantastic places. I think there are some very nice examples here in Dubai of making that transition. Globally, we need to continue to improve. And if we don't evolve with our customers, then clearly we're going to perish. If we succeed, we will generate vast economic value, as our industry has done in the past. So how do we create social value? Well, it's really a combination of tangible and intangible features. Tangible ones include the expansion of high-quality dining experiences, green space, and general upgrading of amenities, and the introduction of non-retail uses into our shopping centers. For retailers, at the same time, growth is very much on the agenda all throughout the European markets, the US markets, and chains from those markets are now more strategic than they've ever been in the past. They're looking harder at finding ways to maximize the value of their existing real estate. In many cases, in some of the mature markets, they're eliminating unnecessary floor space wherever they can. Many of the retailers have become far more flexible with their formats, so they're able to take advantage of more diverse real estate opportunities to tap into new customer bases. In particular, we're seeing an explosion of urban formats with retailers and shopping centers opening up in surprising irregular spaces. New market research tools and organizational structures enable retailers now to edit their merchandise mix to suit local tastes. And just as merchandising has become more location specific, marketing is becoming far more personalized because of the technologies associated, frankly, with the mobile phone. Today, retailers have many options at their disposal to test new markets without making the commitment to jump in with new real estate locations or opening full-size stores. They can use pop-up shops, vending machines, branded internet sites, third-party sites, and increasingly kiosks to understand where a new store is going to work best for them. In New York City, it was announced last week that Uniqlo is opening kiosks at various subway stations to assess where the best opportunity is for them to open new Uniqlo stores in New York City. These exercises to test the market give retailers more assurance that then when they do get around to opening a store, they will open it in the right location that makes the most economic sense. This much more focused and risk-averse approach to new store openings by retailers worldwide will temper the demand for new shopping center space. And once again, for this reason, new development is likely to remain very modest in the foreseeable future in most of the mature markets. By 2020, Asia Pacific is expected to account for about 26% of activity, compared to about 11%, as was the case in 2004 to 2006. And within the Asia Pacific region, China is firmly establishing growth opportunities worldwide. In India, the areas around New Delhi, as well as Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, and other cities are experiencing strong development growth, driven by demand for space by expanding international and increasingly domestic retailers. The pace of growth has created some future challenges that I believe will need to be addressed, particularly concerning sizing, design, and market positioning of many properties. In China, the overall quality of new shopping center development has improved. Local companies, high-profile international operators from Hong Kong, Singapore, the Philippines, and Japan are building some beautiful centers in China today. Apart from mainland China, Hong Kong, Korea, Singapore, and most other countries in East Asia are experiencing a retail real estate boom. This is occurring partly because of rising local demand, but increasingly due to the growing influence of tourism from mainland China itself. In the Americas, shopping center openings in the US amounted to a net gain of 16 million square feet in 2012. That's about half the amount of square feet that opened in the country of Colombia last year. It was a record low for the United States. This slowdown resulted from the excess space built up over a period of the last 25 years of very, very aggressive development. And GLA, both in and out of shopping centers, grew almost unchecked from the mid-1970s all the way through the Great Recession, piling on more than 8 billion square feet of floor space. During that period, population grew by 47%, but retail space grew by 110%, hardly a sustainable situation. With the opportunities today presented in emerging markets, retail chains that had once focused on expansion in the United States and Europe were focused to pause and do a serious rethink of their growth strategies in the past years. They've slowed the opening of new domestic market stores, closed unprofitable ones, and refocused their capital expenditures on remodeling and refreshing the remainder. They also have done two other very important things. They shifted significant development resources from physical real estate to creating a better online presence, as well as accelerating their timetable for overseas expansion. Large specialty chains that were and still are the mainstays of U.S. shopping centers have trimmed back their store portfolios at home, or at the very least have stopped increasing them, and they're working hard to find better ways of making use of the real estate they have. Meanwhile, they have opened stores in China, Japan, in UK, in Australia, in other markets where their brands resonate. Regional franchise operators have, in many cases, facilitated this growth because local knowledge continues to be the most critical element in ensuring that an international brand is able to adapt itself to that local market. One wonderful thing that we can observe in our industry is that just as some retailers and categories lose their importance over time, others rise to take their place. Not only do whole categories emerge, but they create innovative concepts as entrepreneurs identify niches in these market opportunities. I would say the food service business is one very good example of how one category expands to take space vacated by others. Shopping centers today have gone from the generic food courts to restaurants to high quality al fresco dining, in many cases chef-driven concepts. And quite frankly, food service in shopping centers today is virtually unrecognizable from what it was just 10 years ago in terms of quality and offering. Due to the many challenges, or perhaps because of them, the industry continues to progress in impressive ways. And we need to continue to make big strides like we have in recent years in avoiding the perception that our shopping centers are just bunches of stores that sell stuff. Shopping centers have to be efficient and they have to be vibrant. These two characteristics are sometimes difficult to keep together. But let's face it, in the social media era that we live in, we will clearly be praised for all the things that we do well, but we will be exposed mercilessly for our shortcomings. We have to work very, very hard, and retailers and shopping centers have to work together to figure out how we earn a lot of praise and very little criticism in the work that we do. I would say it is daunting, but at the same time exciting, that we're in the midst of one of the most transformational periods in the history of consumer behavior. The overarching challenge for all of us is to resist just doing what made us successful in the first place and understand how to accommodate the changes in shopping behavior rather than trying to fight them. Today, pressure is coming on our industry not just from e-tailers such as Amazon, but also from many of the same mainstream retailers upon which many shopping centers are so highly dependent. Great retailers are a key to great shopping centers, and their ability to generate sales from e-commerce demonstrates that the traditional patterns of store growth are over. In many cases, their stores are becoming multifunctional in ways that we didn't think were possible just 10 years ago. By integrating inventory systems across stores and warehouses, retailers are able to use both as distribution points for e-commerce. This is going to raise the productivity of lesser performing assets, lesser performing stores, and perhaps extend their longevity. A more pronounced impact is likely to be the opportunity for these anchor stores to redesign, retool, re-merchandise, and re-staff themselves in ways that greatly enhance the shopping experience. Shoppers will benefit from elevated, more personalized service in a technology-intensive environment, making them more likely to come to our shopping malls. Technology can be a key driver of success rather than a reason for gloom and doom. So far, the technology revolution is seen to have primarily benefited consumers and e-tailers, with mainstream retailers and shopping centers scrambling to adapt. A good example of this is m-commerce, or mobile commerce. Now, no sooner had we gotten used to the idea of people sitting at home and shopping on their PCs or their computers, that now they're switching to mobile devices. And while traditional PC sales decline, global tablet and smartphone sales are soaring as consumers shift their social networking, their email, their shopping, their video gaming, and other activities to these smaller portable devices. Sales of smartphones and tablets are rising by more than 50% annually. So we in the shopping center industry need to provide as good an experience on mobile phones as we do on PCs. I can tell you that many of us have not made the transition. Often our websites are too small, too hard to read on a smartphone. But it takes more than just a mobile-friendly website to meet the challenge and power of the shifting consumers. E-commerce itself has been highly deflationary, so consumers have benefited from a big price cut in stores as well as on the internet. There's also been a power shift because of the information at consumers' fingertips before, during, and after the shopping trip. The so-called showrooming is very real. Retailers have found ways of combating it, either through premium service, price matching, or taking advantage of new technology that enables them to set and change prices dynamically. As a result of this power shift, consumers now have greatly elevated expectations of price, value, and service in our shopping centers and in our stores. And this has put a great deal of pressure on retailers to raise their performance. And to achieve this, many retailers are turning to technology themselves. Retailers are harnessing new technologies in many ways. They use it to cut expenses, improve efficiency, and in many ways to enhance the overall store experience. Some of these technologies have great promise and applications for shopping centers as well. For example, location-based services like geofencing work just as well for shopping centers as they do for individual retailers. Given geofencing, shopping center marketing managers have a revolutionary new tool available for them to talk to consumers one-on-one and say, hey, you're in my shopping mall. Here's a great reason for you to come in, and here's a great reason for you to spend more time and to spend more money. Of course, you have to get the consumer to opt into the program, but our research suggests that resistance to the use of personal data by marketers is a lot lower among young people, and the young people are our future. Personal data simply includes the use of shopper location information to send marketing offers, which is the case with geofencing. Shopping center operators will be able to adapt many of these new technologies for their own use by understanding how retailers and how customers are using them. For example, an increasing number of stores and shopping center common areas now have free Wi-Fi. And I can tell you that if an essential component of shopping in the 21st century is connectivity to information, to friends, and to brands, then offering the infrastructure for that connectivity doesn't sound like a very bad idea. Shopping centers still have a crucial role to play in the distribution of goods and services, but it now has to do more than that. Because today, the new gatekeeper to goods and services is experience.
Economic value flows from the social value we're able to create in our retail projects, not from just putting a few good retailers up there that sell stuff. I can tell you it is certainly a challenge, but there are great opportunities in this challenge. There is great excitement and great enthusiasm. And given the history of this great industry, I think that we're up to the challenge. I want to congratulate all of you for taking 2 days out of your busy business schedules to be with us these 2 days, to learn, and as was said earlier, to share your knowledge and your experience. For it's through this sharing of knowledge and experience that our industry has grown to be one of the great contributors of economic value to our societies. So I can again congratulate you for your wisdom in taking that step, and thank you for being with us here at RECon MENA 2013. Thank you as well for having me back.
Mike, thanks very much. It's great to always get your insight into how the retail world is in the rest of the world, because Mike's schedule sees him traveling around the world, literally around the world on a regular basis, and so what he has to say is always is just great, so thank you. Our next guest, our next speaker, Adrian Hayes, has not much to do with the retail business at all. Perhaps that's why we have him here, because he's here to show us that there may be another alternate way to look at life than perhaps the way we do every day. So I'd like you to please help me and welcome Adrian Hayes as an adventurer, explorer, mountaineer. Adrian is the British UAE-based, record-breaking polar explorer, adventurer, keynote speaker, business coach, business leader, and sustainability leader. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to start with a short video of some of the things that I've done in the last few years.
Just 2 steps. Go somewhere. I did it because I believed I could do it. We've got to set for something else now. Let's turn it. Forget the South Pole, forget the North Pole, forget Everest. Let's move on another challenge. Let's take this to another dimension.
So that's all there is to it, actually. So as David said, I don't have much to do with shopping malls. In fact, I might have walked and navigated my way. Thank you. I might have walked and navigated my way 800 kilometers to the North Pole, 1,200 kilometers to the South Pole, and 4,000 kilometers across Greenland. But I've been to Dubai Mall about 5 times and got lost every time. So we've got to learn something there. Is that microphone working now? I'll use the handheld. Thank you. What is that? Handheld mic, please. Okay. Bring it up, please. Thanks. Okay, get up this slide on, please. So I wear many different hats, but today, as I said, as a business coach, leadership team development coach, and as a speaker, sustainability arm, and a humanitarian side. But today I'm just going to give you a little bit of inspiration. Can we get that slide sorted out, please? Just a little bit of waking up, a bit of fun, a little bit something different from the 2 days that you're going to be experiencing in the next 48 hours. Can we have that first slide on, please? So while we're waiting for that, as a young lad at age 13, I wrote down some very silly things that I wanted to achieve in my life. One of them was like walking